Welcome to the Caddo Convos, the podcast that explores the vibrant community of businesses thriving in Caddo Office Reimagined. We're here to shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and professionals who make the most of our private offices, co-working spaces, and day office rentals in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. Join us as we share their stories, celebrate their successes, and dive into the benefits of working in a space that's close to home but offers so much more than working from home. Let's get started with today's conversation. So Tabitha's joining me today on the show. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about your business.
So we are The Journey in the Process, and we are a mental health counseling organization. We specialize in complex trauma. So think the worst thing that you can imagine, that's what we work with.
Right.
And we have a subspecialization in domestic abuse and coercive control in the church.
So tell me how this business started with you. Like, how did you come to find this business?
So we started because there was a need for good counseling, really good counseling, right? Not all counselors are created equal. There are some good ones and there's some terrifying ones. And at the time we started, trauma wasn't the buzzword that it is now. We've been in business about 10 years now. And the people really need the right things treated right. If you go to a doctor and you're not treating the right problem, you're not going to be successful. And so we needed counselors in the world that could do this work and do it well with people who are very sensitive and who have had really hard things happen. And so that is why I started the business, was to offer that kind of really good, compassionate, but very well-skilled care for people who needed it and could have a safe place to process the worst of the worst, right? This isn't the stuff that you're like, well, let me tell you what happened while you were at a party, right? These are things I don't want to utter out loud. And we want to be there with you in it.
Interesting. So you have a team.
I do have a team.
So talk to me about the size and scale and the people you help. So walk me through all of that.
Absolutely. So we actually have two offices. One is in Texas and one is in North Carolina. It's a long story.
Sure.
In the Texas office, it is myself and my clinician, Victoria, and we are trained in eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is EMDR, and brain spotting and somatic experiencing and internal family systems, all the really good stuff to help you get out of a pit, essentially. So we tell people, you may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but we are not pitching a tent. We don't make camp, and we're getting out. And so that is what we do, is help folks who are in dark places find light places and find a way to live a life they've always wanted and didn't think that they could have. So our clients are people who have experienced terrible things and have gone through the absolute worst of the worst, like things that you don't want to mention and things that I will not mention and traumatize the listeners with, but who are just in need of really good, kind care and want to untangle things like, abuse and the experiences of it, whether it was as a kid, whether it was in your relationship, whether it was, unfortunately, in your faith gathering place and all of that. We help you heal and be amazing and walk where you want to walk and be who you are and all the good stuff.
Yeah. And you're so upbeat. Like you mentioned, there's subjects we won't talk about, but you're so upbeat. And what I found is in your industry, you have to have an energy about you, an upbeat energy, because you've seen the darkest of the dark, right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about your inspiration to lead you to where you are now. What's the spark that lit underneath you that I'm going to help people?
Well, I have felt like being a counselor since I was like 13. I just didn't know what the word meant. What really it was like I saw my friends and I were all a hot mess. And I was like, man, if there was an adult that like had a clue, it'd be really helpful. And I later found out that's called counseling. And so I've always felt like that draw to it. But I'm also a domestic abuse survivor myself. And I had a church that terribly mishandled it. And I had a church that handled it very well. And so I've seen both sides of that. And I've been graciously helped by amazing therapists over my lifetime. And so when I felt like it was time to go to graduate school, which is actually my second career, and that I was overjoyed and I knew I was going to be in the deep end of the pond. I knew where I was going in the beginning. And so there really just needs to be good people out there to help folks. And that is also one of the reasons that we take interns at our site and help, students, because whether or not they ever work for me, although I do say a lot of my interns stick around, it's really important to have really good oversight and really good, mentorship as you walk into this, and that you can know, like, I have good things to offer, because everybody, especially students, are like, oh no, what do I do? And everybody's scared at their first session. And it's awesome to see them grow, like from like, oh no, what do I do, to I got this. We are going to help you, and watching them help people. And there is no greater joy, in my opinion, than seeing someone who comes in and their first thing to you is, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't want to be alive. And you finish with your work with them and they graduate therapy and they're like, I didn't know joy could exist, and now I experience it, right? And that doesn't make us immune to the ups and downs of life. Life gets lifey. It does that. But they know how to handle it. They know how to walk through the hard. They have healed from the deep harm that has happened, or are healing, right? Because like it's a process, which is why we're the journey and the process, right? Because we're on a journey and in process. Yeah. And that helps people like just have this effervescence that goes with them. And so I may touch the life of one person, or one of my clinicians may touch the life of one person, but then they touch the lives of their friends and their family and their children. And so it ends up having this ripple effect of health that I don't think people realize.
Yeah, it radiates out.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I know you probably have so many success stories. Can you pluck one out? Obviously, not name names or ages, but talk to me about someone's journey through the process.
Whoa. So this is going to be an aggregate story, because I protect my clients fiercely.
Yes, it's many people. Right?
It is many people.
That's great. That's a great way to see it.
It's something I see consistently. So
that's a great way to put it.
So I just want to be very clear about that, because again,
specific.
I am so protective over our clients. I protect them.
That's
well.
a quality.
Yes, it's really important. But for battered women. So a battered woman, a lot of people think that means hitting. It surely does not. Domestic abuse is so much more than physical or sexual. It often starts with a lot of control and coercion and isolation and manipulation and gaslighting and all of those things, right? And gaslighting is a little bit of a buzzword these days as well. But really it's like taking out your reality, right? And so some of the most beautiful things that I see are women that come in to us and they think they're the worst person. They're like, I am a terrible human being. There's nothing good about me at all. And we do the work and we disentangle the junk and go, who are you really? Right. And it always reminds me of, there's a movie with Julia Roberts where she is leaving weddings all the time. I forget what it's called.
Runaway Bride.
Yes. Runaway Bride.
My friends will be embarrassed that I knew that right off the top of my head.
I'm so proud of you.
Look at me. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm a bit of a cinephile, I think. But continue.
And what she's asked in the movie is how do you like your eggs? And she's like, oh, I like them this way. And he's like, and the person she's talking to is like, really? And she goes and she experiments. And if you've never seen the movie, I'm about to spoil it. And I'm sorry.
It's been out long enough.
I feel like it's fair.
Yeah. Like 20 years.
Yeah. But she goes and she's like, I don't even like eggs. And that is very much the experience of our survivors. They're like, oh, this is actually my preference. This is what I enjoy. This is who I am. And they go on to do amazing things like start businesses or, raise their babies better and all these wonderful things where they're like, I get to be me and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be me. And I'm a valuable person. And that is incredible to me. And that is what we get to see over and over and over in our practice is someone who comes in thinking they are nothing.
That must be so rewarding.
And then they see who they are.
Yeah. Wow. That's wonderful and very important. Talk to me about I think the thing that may be a mystery for everyone is we all want to be cured and whatnot. What is the timeline? The average timeline is because we all want our medicine now, if you will.
Right.
It's like, what's a realistic expectation to, I'm coming into you and I have, any average of that. What does that look like? I mean, what's realistic?
This is my therapist answer. It depends.
I love it. Yes. And that's the answer I expected.
Right. And it really depends on the level of traumatic experience, how long it's gone on. If you had developmental trauma, which means it started when you were a kid because your family was a little sus, then that also factors into it because we have to untangle a lot. Yeah. So it really depends. It is not a quick fix. I wish it were. Now, it does not mean that as you heal, you have to be in therapy the whole time, right? Like my active goal is to work myself completely out of a job, right? Like I don't want you to need me. I want you to think of me fondly and go, that was a nice period of time in my life and move on, right? I'm a chapter in your story. I'm not the story. And so, I've had clients that have been with me a few months because it was a smaller traumatic experience or series of traumas. And I've had clients that have been with me all 10 years. And again, it's not like every week, right? Like, for my long-term clients, it's like once a year. They check in just to make sure we're good, right? They just make sure everything's good, or if something comes up, they come back or whatever. But it really depends. And it's our hope, right? We are not keeping people around, just to keep people around. Like, I want you to come get what you need, and I want you to heal, and then I want you to go live your life and be your best self, right? Like, that's really what I want. So that's really how we work. And so we really do check in with clients like, hey, how do you feel it's going? How, what are we doing well here? What do you feel like is going really well? And like, what do you want to be different? Right? And if we get to a point where it's like, hey, I'm not the right person for you anymore, we actually want to help you find the right person, because we're not trying to keep people around. Like we do need to make money, because obviously like the lights don't stay on otherwise. Right. However, I'm not in it for money. Like, I'm in it for people. And if I'm doing a good job, the money comes with it. True.
And so speaking of money, what is I imagine you take insurance? Like what? So it's cash pay. Yep. What is there a ballpark? Let's say if I needed, I guess how often is like let's say if I came weekly for 3 months, what's a wild guess? Is that even answerable?
Well, I don't math, so there's that. I'll tell you what the hourly rates are.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I'm a therapist.
And
I don't do math.
These are subject to change, everybody. So if you hear this a year from now, it might have changed.
It could be different.
Yeah,
right.
The world's changing place.
Yeah. So my rate is $200 an hour for clients, and my clinician, Victoria, this is for Texas, right? If you're listening to this from somewhere else, like you can go to the website. We have our North Carolina rates. Sure. Hers are $150 a session. How many sessions you need is really dependent. We do have some clients that will come and do intensives with us, which is a completely separate offering.
Gotcha.
And those can be anywhere from 1 to 3 days. If it's a new client for us, we say 3 because we need to know enough about you and be able to help you, but it's amazing. Yeah. So if you feel like I've been banging my head against therapy for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I need something like that deep dive where we don't have to be done in 50 minutes, an intensive is the way to go. And we also offer, as part of our intensives, we have a partnership with a equine therapy organization from our Flower Mound office, which is so amazing. Wow. So we go out and do equine work. We include art therapy. There's all kinds of wonderful things that happen in an intensive because we have time and we can do those deeper dives. And we also partner with a Trauma Touch massage therapist who is up in Denton, who will come to if you're coming in from somewhere, they'll come to your hotel, or you could go to her if you're local. Yeah. And that has been just a game changer because, again, we're treating whole people. Yeah. We're not brains on a stick. That's not how we work, right? We are mind, body, soul. And so we treat the whole person. And that's where intensives just shine in that. We used to have good time. So those are depending on how many days you do. So it really depends on how long therapy is. We can do longer sessions. That is an advantage of not being insurance-based. Insurance doesn't like anything longer than 45 minutes, and complex trauma doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't. So we do it a little different. And if we do have an intern available at any given time, they're reduced rate. So we try to make it as accessible as possible for people when we can. We also offer some groups. We have a women's trauma group for faith-based women currently. It is phenomenal. It's run by Victoria. And you can be anywhere. You don't have to leave your house. It's on Zoom.
It's a Zoom meeting.
Yes. So we can do lots of different things for folks in those ways as well.
What attracted you and your business to the Caddo office Reimagined, and which location are you at? I think you said Flower Mound, correct?
We're at Flower Mound.
Tell me about that.
I love the space, and the location is amazing. And it's beautiful, right? So like if you walk into any Caddo facility, they're gorgeous. I was like, I don't know who decorated them, but yes.
They're on top of their game.
Yeah. Not my gifting in life. But definitely someone's here. And also the people are amazing. Like they're great people around. I've met people just in the kitchen where we're chatting, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And just chatting like as we nuke our lunches and stuff, which has been a delight. So location, the facility is amazing. The Wi-Fi works really well, which is very nice. And it's just all around good. Yeah. It's the kind of place I want to be. And, people are responsive too. So if you need something, your building manager's got you.
You get an interesting response from your clients when they walk in.
My clients are like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, truthfully, they're like, this is an amazing facility. And I'm like, right? Yeah. We all love it. And it also it just presents a good business face, right?
It does.
You know, your clients are like, yeah, you know what you're doing. You are a professional. You're not like, we're not in a shack in somebody's backyard. Or, right. I mean, which if that is your thing, that is totally fine.
For the business, it works.
Right. But you know, for the business that I run, it works to be in a beautiful space. And that is a place that's really important to me as a therapist, right? We're taking people who don't feel very safe, like in their own skin, you know, and helping them feel safe again. And so if the facility itself doesn't feel peaceful and calm and welcoming, they're not going to come back, right? And that is one thing I have to say Caddo does really well. It feels very safe. It feels very calming, very comforting. And that is incredibly important.
So talk to me about the best way to contact you. Is it website, portal? You know, how do they typically reach out to you?
So the best way is through the website or to give us a call. So the website is thejourneyandtheprocess.com. Spell out and. It is not a symbol. It is A-N-D. Or our number is 919-891-0521. And that will take you right to our intake person who will get you set up. So you can go to the website, check us out. You can call. You can ask a million questions. We like that. We know it's a big decision. We know the enormous amount of courage that it takes to make the call or to send the first email, right? It's scary. And so we really want to honor that and give you the easiest way, whatever's easy for you.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and being on the show today and joining us here in the studio at the Caddo Maple Shade location. And I know it's a little drive for you, but it's really important, the work you do, and especially with the smile on your face, because it's so tough. You know, it's a tough world out there, and a lot of people have been through it. So any parting thoughts for us today?
Yes. First of all, it's okay not to be okay, and you don't have to stay there. Second, I have a book coming out in April.
Ooh, tell me all about that. Yeah, let's hear about it.
It is called Body and Soul, Healed and Whole, and it's an invitational guide to healthy sexuality after trauma, abuse, and coercive control. And it is for Christian women who have been sexually shattered, either through childhood sexual abuse, sexual assault in any part of life, or sexual abuse in your marriage, or any relationship. And those things really kind of shatter our sense of self and our sexual self. And so this book is to help you put it all back together in healthy, good ways without being preachy. I am not take 2 verses and call me in the morning. Not my vibe. It's very honest and very practical and very direct. And it doesn't minimize or spiritually bypass pain, because we don't do that. And it really is meant to be hopeful and helpful and healing to women who read it, and to churches if they are bold enough to read it and come alongside women. And it also really speaks to single women, because you don't stop having sexuality because you're single. And so we really look at all the people. And sometimes books are written just to married folks when you talk about sex and sexuality, and everybody forgets that single people exist and single women exist. So I really took a lot of time to make sure that everybody felt heard and seen in their healing. And that comes out April 1st, 2025.
And where will it be found?
It'll be found at all of your major retailers. It's pre-orderable on Amazon right now. And it'll be at any place that you can buy books.
Excellent. Well, we'll be sure to put all of that in the show notes. So just scroll down, everybody, on the platform of choice and look for that, and obviously, how to reach out. So again, thank you so much for being on the show. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on the Caddo Convos podcast. A huge shout out to our incredible network of members for making our community vibrant and supportive. If you're looking to boost your productivity and reduce the isolation of working from home, consider joining us at Caddo Office Reimagined. Our spaces are designed to meet your evolving needs, support remote work, and foster a sense of community that's hard to find at home. Whether you're a startup aiming for growth, a freelancer seeking a professional setting, or a company looking to optimize resources, Caddo offers a perfect blend of flexibility and innovation. By joining us, you'll be a part of a dynamic business ecosystem that helps you thrive. For more information, visit caddooffices.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Caddo Convos.